what's up, and welcome back to the channel Jkworld035, and we're back with the series of book reading Atomic Habit. So, and today's episode is 23, and the chapter is how to stick with good habits every day. So, let's read, listen carefully. So, in 1993, a bank in Abbotsford, Canada hired a 23 years old stockbroker named Trent Grimsmind. Abbotsford was a relatively small suburb tucked away in the shadow of nearby Vancouver, where most of the big business deals were made. Being made. Given the location and the fact that Grimsmind was a rookie, nobody expected too much of him, but he made brisk progress thanks to a simple daily habit. Grimsmind began each morning with two jars on his desk. One was filled with 120 paper clips. The other was empty. As soon as he settled in each day, he would make a sales call. Immediately after, he would move one paper clip from the full jar to the empty jar, and the process would begin again. Every morning, I would start with 120 paper clips in one jar, and I would keep dialing the phone until I had moved them all to the second jar. He told me within 18 months, Dreamsmind was bringing in 5 million to the firm. By age 24, he was making $75,000 per year, the equivalent of $125,000 today. Not long after, he landed a six-figure job with another company. I like to refer to this technique as the paper chip strategy, and over the year, I would hear from the readers who have employed in a variety of ways. One woman shifted a hairpin from one container to another whenever she wrote a page of her book. Another man moved a marble from one bin to the next after each set of push-ups. Making progress is satisfying, and visual measures like moving paper chips or hairpins or marbles provide clear evidence of your progress. As a result, they reinforce your behavior and add a little bit of immediate satisfaction to any activity. Visual measurements comes in many forms: food journal, workout logs, loyalty punch cards, the progress bar on a software download, even the page numbers in a book. But perhaps the best way to measure your progress is with a habit tracker. How to keep your habit on track? A habit tracker is a simple way to measure whether you did a habit. The most basic format is to get a calendar and cross off each day you stick with your routine. For example, if you meditate on Monday, Wednesday and Friday, each of those dates gets on X. As time rolls by, the calendar becomes a record of your habit break. Countless people have tracked their habits, but perhaps the most famous was Benjamin Franklin. Beginning at age 20, Franklin carried a small booklet everywhere He went and used it to track 13 personal 13 personal virtues. This list includes goals like lose no time, be always employed in something useful, and avoid trifling conversation. At the end of each day, Franklin would open his booklet and record his progress. Jerry Seinfeld reportedly uses a habit tracker to stick with his streak of writing jokes. In the documentary Comedian, he explains that his goal is simple to never break the chain of writing jokes every day. In other words, he is not focused on how habits or bad a particular joke is or how inspired he feels. He is simply focused on showing up and adding to his streak. Don't break the chain is a powerful mantra. Don't break the chain of sales calls and you will build a successful book of business. Don't break the chain of workouts and you will get fit faster than you would expect. Don't break the chain of creating every day and you will end up with an impressive portfolio. Habit tracking is powerful because it's leverage multiple laws of behavior change. It simultaneously makes a behavior obvious, attractive, and satisfying. Let's break down each one. Benefit 1: habit tracking is obvious. Regarding your last action creates a trigger that can initiate your next one. Habit tracking naturally builds a series of visual cues like the streak of X on your calendar or the list of meals in your food log. When you look at the calendar and see your streak, you will be reminded to act again. Research has shown that people who track their progress on goals like losing weight, quitting smoking, and lowering blood pressure are all more likely to improve than those who don't. One study of more than 1600 people focused found that those who kept a daily food log lost twice as much weight as those who did not. The mere act of tracking behavior can spark the urge to change it. Number 3, habit tracking is a satisfying. This is the most critical benefit of all. Tracking can become its own form of reward. It is satisfying to cross an item off your to-do list, to complete an entry is your workout log, or to mark an X on the calendar. It feels good to watch your result grow, the size of your investment portfolio, the length of your book manuscript, and if it feels good, then you will more likely to endure. Habit tracking also helps keep your eye on the ball. You will focus on the process rather than the result. You will not fixated on getting six pack abs. You are just trying to keep the streak alive and become the type of person who don't miss workouts. In summary, habit tracking creates a visual cue that can remind you to act. Inherently motivating because you see the progress you are making and don't want to lose it, and feel satisfying when ever you record another successful instance of your habit. Furthermore, habit tracking provide visual proof that you are casting votes for the type of person you wish to become, which is delightful form of immediate and intrinsic gratification. You may be wondering, if habit tracking is so useful, why have I wanted so long to talk about it? Despite all the benefits, I lift this discussion until now for simple reason. Many people resist the idea of tracking and measuring. It can feel like a burden burden because it forces you into two habits: the habits you are trying to build and the habits of tracking it. Counting calories sounds like a hustle when you are already struggle to follow a diet. Writing down every sales call seems tedious when you will get work to do. It feels easier to say, I will just eat less, or I will try harder, or I will remember to do it. People in inevitably inevitably tell me things like I have a discussion general, but I wish I used it more, or I recorded my workouts for a week but then quit. I will be there myself. I once made a food log to track my calories. I managed to do it for one meal and then give up. Tracking isn't for everyone, and there is no need to measure your entire life, but nearly anyone can benefit from it in some form, even if it's only temporarily. What can we do to make tracking easier? First, whenever possible, measurement should be automated. You will probably be surprised by how much you are already tracking without knowing it. Your credit card statement track how often you go out to eat. Your Fitbit register how many steps you take and how long you sleep. Your calendar record how many new places you travel to each year. Once you know where to go, the date, add a note to your calendar to review it each week or each month, which is more practical than tracking it every day. Second, manual tracking should be limited to your most important habit. Is better to consistently tracking one habit than so um, sporadically track 10. Finally, record each measurement immediately after the habit occurs. The completion of the behavior is the cue to write it down. This approach allows you to combine the habit stacking method mentioned in chapter 5 with the habit tracking. The habit tracking plus habit tracking formula is: after current habit, I will track my habit. After I hang up the phone from a sale call, I will move one paper chip over. After I finish each set of the gym, I will record it my workout journal. After I put my plate in the dishwasher, I will write down what I eat. These tactics can make tracking your habit easier, even if you aren't the type of person who enjoys recording your behavior. I think you will find a few weeks of measurements to be insightfully it always interesting to see how you will actually be in spending your time. That said, every habit streak ends at some point, and more important than any single measurement is having a good plan for when your habits slide off track. So, how to recover quickly when your habits break down? No matter how consistent you are with your habits, isn't investable that life will erupt you at some point. Perfection is not possible. Before long, an emergency will pop up. You get sick, or you have to travel from work, or your family need a little more of your time. Whenever this happens to me, I will try to remind myself of a simple rule: never miss twice. If I miss one day, I will try to get back into it as quickly as possible. Missing one workout happens, but I will not going to miss two in a row. Maybe I will eat an entire pizza, but I will follow it with a healthy meal. I can be perfect, but I can avoid a second lapse. As soon as one streak ends, I get started on the next time. The first mistake is never the one that runs you. It is the spiral of repeated mistakes that follow. Missing once is an accident, missing twice is the start of a new habit. This is a distinguished feature between winners and losers. Anyone can have a bad performance, a bad workout, or a bad day at work, but when successful people fail, they rebound quickly. The breaking of a habit don't matter if the reclaiming of it is fast. I think this principle is so important that I will stick to it even if I can't do a habit as well as completely as I would like. Too often we fall into an all or nothing cycle with our habit. The problem is not sleeping up. The problem is thinking that if you can do something perfectly, then you shouldn't do it at all. You don't realize how valuable is it is to just show up on your bad or busy days. Lost days hurt you more than successful days helps you. If you start with $100, then a 50% gain will take you to $150, but you only need a 33% loss to take you back to $100. In other words, avoiding a 33% loss is just as valuable as achieving a 50% gain. As Charlie Munger says, the first rule of compounding: never interrupt it unnecessarily. This is why the bad workouts are often the most important ones. Sluggish days and bad workouts maintain the compound gains you accrued from previous good days. Simply doing something: 10 squats, few spins, a push-ups, anything really is huge. Don't put up a zero. Don't let losers eat into your compounding. Furthermore, it's not always about the happening during the workout. It's about being the type of person who don't miss workouts. It's easy to train when you feel good, but it's critical to show up when you don't feel like it, even if you don't less than you hope. Going to the gym for few minutes any may not improve your performance, but it reframes your identity. The all or nothing cycle of behavior change is just one pitfall that can derail your habit. Another potential danger, especially if you are using a habit tracker, is measuring the wrong thing. Knowing when and when not to track a habit. Say you're running a restaurant and you want to know if your chef is doing a good job. One way to measure success is to track how many customers pay for a meal each day. If more customers come in, the food must be good. If fewer customers come in, something must be wrong. However, this is one measurement. Daily revenue only gives a limited picture of what's really going on. Just because someone pays for a meal doesn't mean they enjoy the meal. Even dissatisfied customers are unlikely to dine and dash. In fact, if you are only measuring revenue, the food might be getting worse, but you are making up for it with marketing or discounts or some other methods. Instead, it may be more effective to track how many customers finish their meals, or perhaps the percentage of customer who leaves a generous tips tip. The dark side of tracking a particular behavior is that we become driven by the numbers rather than the purpose behind it. If your success is measured by uh, quarterly earning, you will optimize sales, revenue, and accounting for quarterly earning. If your success is measured by a lower number on the scale, you will optimize for a lower number on the scale. Even if the means embracing crash diets, juice, cleanness, and fat loss pills, the human mind want to win whatever game is being played. This pitfall is evident in many areas of life. We focus on working long hours instead of getting meaningful work done. We care more about getting 10,000 steps than we do about being healthy. We teach for standardized tests instead of emphasizing learning, curiosity, and critical thinking. In short, we optimize for what we measure. When we choose the wrong measurement, we get the wrong behavior. This is something referred to as Goodhart's law, named after the economist Charles Goodhart. The principle states, when a measure become a target, it cases to be a good measure. Measurement is only useful when it guided you and adds context to a larger picture, not when it consumes you. Each number is simply one piece of feedback in the overall system. In our data driven world, we tend to overvalue members and unrival value anything imperial, soft, and difficult to quantify. We mistakenly think it factor we can measure are the only factor that exists, but just because you can measure something doesn't mean it's the most important thing, and just because you can't measure something doesn't mean it's not important to all at all of this to say it's critical to keep habit tracking in its proper place. It can feel satisfying to record a habit and track your progress, but the measurements is not the only thing that matters. Furthermore, there are many ways to measure progress, and sometimes it helps to shift your focus to something entirely different. This is why non-scale victories can be effective for weight loss. The number of the scale may be uh, stubborn, so if you focus solely on that number, your motivation will suck. But you may notice that your skin looks better, or you wake up earlier, or your sex drive got a boost. All of these are valid ways to track your improvement. If you are not feeling motivated by the number on the scale, perhaps it's time to focus on a different measurement, one that gives you more signals of programs. No matter how you measure your improvement, habit tracking offers a simple way to make your habit more satisfying. Each measurement provides a little bit of evidence that you are moving in the right direction, and a brief moment of immediate pleasure for a job well done. So this is a chapter. So what is the chapter summary? One of the most satisfying feeling is the feeling of making progress. A habit tracking is a simple way to measure whether you did a habit, like marking an X on a calendar. Habit tracking and other visual forms of measurement can make your habit satisfying by providing clear evidence of your progress. Don't break the chain. Try to keep your habits streak alive. Never miss twice. If you miss one day, try to get back on track as quickly as possible. Just because you can measure something doesn't mean it's the most important thing. So this is a chapter summary, and this is a chapter of book reading series. So if you understand this, please implement in your life, and consistency is matter. If you are develop a habit, please be consistent on that habit. That's it. So thank you so much for watching this video, and we will back again with another episode. So bye bye guys, take care.